Claude just hit 72% accuracy on real-world computer tasks. That's higher than the average human operator.
Wait, are you saying AI is literally better at using computers than people now? So we're covering what Anthropic bought, how Claude actually controls computers, and what this means for developers?
By minute 4, you'll know exactly which jobs just became obsolete. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the AI Daily Podcast. Today's news and a deep dive to help you stay ahead in AI.
Today, we're diving into Anthropic acquires Vercept to advance Claude's computer use capabilities.
Stick around to the end for today's headlines. Let's dive right in.
So let's talk about Anthropic's acquisition of Vercept and what this means for the future of AI assistance. This isn't just another tech acquisition. This is fundamentally about AI systems that can control your computer, navigate interfaces, fill out forms, and essentially do anything a human can do with a mouse and keyboard.
Right, and the timing here is fascinating. We're seeing Claude Sonnet 4.6 hitting 72.5% on OS World benchmarks. That's up from under 15% just a few months ago. That's not incremental improvement, that's a massive leap.
Exactly. And to put that in perspective, OS World tests real-world computer tasks, things like navigating complex spreadsheets, filling out multi-step web forms, managing files across different applications. When you're approaching human-level performance on these tasks, you're talking about AI that can actually do knowledge work, not just chat about it.
But here's what gets me. Vercept's founders, including Ross Gershik, who basically invented RCNN and helped create the modern computer vision stack, they've been working on perception and interaction problems. This isn't just about making Claude better at screenshots. This is about understanding user interfaces at a fundamental level.
That's the key insight. Vercept wasn't building another chatbot. They were solving how AI systems can see and interact with software the way humans do. Think about what that means. Instead of needing APIs or special integrations, Claude could potentially work with any software that has a GUI.
Which sounds great in theory, but I'm thinking about the security implications here. We're talking about giving an AI system the ability to control computers, access applications, potentially see sensitive data.
And that's where Anthropic's background becomes crucial. This is a company founded by people who left OpenAI specifically because they wanted to focus on AI safety. They're not just racing to ship features. They've got this whole constitutional AI approach, their responsible scaling policy.
Speaking of racing, let's talk about the competitive landscape. OpenAI has been working on similar capabilities, Google's pushing hard with Gemini, and now Anthropic makes this strategic acquisition. Where does this put them?
It potentially leapfrogs them ahead in a critical area. While everyone's been focused on making models smarter, Anthropic's betting that the real unlock is making them more capable of taking action. It's one thing to have an AI that can write code. It's another to have one that can debug it in your IDE, test it in your browser, and deploy it to production.
And the business implications are huge. Imagine AI assistants that can actually complete entire workflows, not just suggest what to do, but actually do it. We're talking about automating huge chunks of knowledge work.
Coming up, we'll dig into exactly how this technology works, what makes Anthropic's approach different, and why this acquisition might be the most important AI deal of 2024. So let's break down what computer use actually means technically. We're not talking about simple screen recording or basic automation scripts. This is about AI that can perceive and understand user interfaces in real time, make decisions about what to click, where to type, and how to navigate complex multi-step processes.
Right, and the Vercept team brings some serious computer vision expertise. Ross Gershik co-invented RCNN, which revolutionized object detection. Kiana Asani has done groundbreaking work on embodied AI. These aren't random acqui-hires. These are people who've been thinking about how AI perceives and interacts with the world for years.
And here's where it gets interesting from an implementation perspective. Traditional automation tools like Selenium or Puppeteer require you to know the DOM structure, use specific selectors, handle timing issues. but Claude's computer use is approaching this more like a human would, looking at the screen, understanding what's there, and figuring out how to interact with it.
I've been digging into the benchmarks. That jump from 15.5 to 72.5% on OS World, that's not just optimization. Something fundamental changed in their approach. What do you think drove that improvement?
Based on what we're seeing, it's likely a combination of better visual understanding and improved action planning. The OS World benchmark includes tasks like book a flight from New York to London for next Tuesday. That requires multiple interfaces, handling date pickers, comparing prices, filling out forms correctly. Each step has multiple failure modes.
And the error handling must be incredibly complex. What happens when a page doesn't load, when a button moves, when there's a pop-up? Humans handle these intuitively, but for an AI system,
That's exactly why the Vercept acquisition makes sense. They've been working on robust perception systems that can handle real-world messiness. It's not just about recognizing a button, it's about understanding when that button is clickable, when it's disabled, when it's loading.
let's talk about the elephant in the room, though, security. If Claude can control computers, what's stopping it from accessing sensitive data, making unauthorized changes, or even installing malware?
Anthropic's approach here is interesting. They're not just relying on model training. They've built in multiple layers of safety. First, there's constitutional AI training that makes Claude refuse harmful requests. Second, they're implementing sandboxing and permission systems. Third, and this is crucial, they're being very careful about the rollout.
But constitutional AI isn't perfect. We've seen jailbreaks, prompt injections, all sorts of workarounds. How do you prevent someone from tricking Claude into performing malicious actions?
That's where their responsible scaling policy comes in. They're not just throwing this capability out there, they're doing extensive red team testing, working with security researchers, implementing monitoring systems, and importantly, they're starting with limited, controlled deployments.
From an architecture standpoint, I'm curious about the latency implications. Real-time computer control requires fast perception, quick decision-making, and responsive actions. How do you think they're handling that?
Based on their recent improvements, they're likely using a combination of techniques: efficient visual encoders for fast screen understanding, specialized action models that can plan multi-step sequences, and probably some clever caching and prediction to reduce round-trip times.
The benchmarks are one thing, but what about real-world performance? I mean, 72.5% on OS World is impressive, but what does that translate to in actual productivity gains?
Early users are reporting some pretty incredible results. Tasks that used to take hours, like data entry across multiple systems, report generation from various sources, even basic QA testing, are being completed in minutes. But there are still limitations. Complex tasks requiring nuanced judgment, creative problem solving, or deep domain expertise still need human oversight.
And what about the competitive response? OpenAI can't be sitting still on this.
They're not. We're hearing rumors of similar capabilities coming to GPT models. Google's Gemini team is pushing hard on multimodal interactions. Microsoft is deeply integrating Copilot across Windows. This Vercept acquisition might give Anthropic an edge, but the race is far from over.
Stick around. We'll break down exactly what this means for your job, your industry, and give you a practical framework for thinking about AI automation in your organization.
All right, let's get practical. If you're a knowledge worker, a developer, or running a tech team, here's what Anthropic's computer use capabilities mean for you right now and what you should be preparing for.
Let's start with the immediate implications. Which jobs and workflows are most likely to be transformed first?
Based on what we're seeing, the first wave will hit repetitive, rule-based computer tasks. Think data entry, report generation, basic customer service interactions, routine QA testing. But here's the nuance. It's not about replacing entire jobs. It's about augmenting specific tasks. A financial analyst won't be replaced, but the hours they spent copying data between spreadsheets and systems, that's gone.
So, if I'm running an engineering team, what should I be doing today to prepare for this shift?
First, audit your team's workflows. Identify tasks that are repetitive, involve multiple applications, and don't require deep creative thinking or complex judgment. These are your automation candidates. Second, start experimenting with Claude's computer use in a sandboxed environment. Get a feel for what it can and can't do. Third, and this is crucial, start thinking about how your team's roles evolve when the mundane tasks disappear.
But there's a skills gap issue here. If AI handles the routine tasks that juniors typically learn on, how do people develop expertise?
That's a critical point. We might need to completely rethink career development. Instead of starting with data entry and working up to analysis, junior employees might start by learning to direct and verify AI work. It's like how calculators changed math education. We spend less time on arithmetic and more on problem solving.
From a security standpoint, what should organizations be implementing before they let AI control their systems?
Non-negotiables include, first, strict sandboxing. Never give AI access to production systems without isolation. Second, comprehensive audit logging. Every action the AI takes should be recorded and reviewable. Third, permission systems that limit what the AI can access based on the task. Fourth, human-in-the-loop controls for sensitive operations. And fifth, regular security audits specifically focused on AI-driven actions.
What about pricing and accessibility? Is this going to be enterprise only, or will smaller teams get access?
Anthropic hasn't announced specific pricing for advanced computer use, but based on a pattern with Claude, expect a tiered approach. Basic capabilities in the consumer tier, more advanced features for teams, and full capabilities with enterprise agreements. The real cost isn't just the API fees, though. It's the setup, monitoring, and governance infrastructure.
Looking ahead, what should we be watching for as indicators of where this technology is heading?
Watch for three things. First, benchmark improvements. When we see models hitting 90% plus on OS World and similar tests, that's when things get really interesting. Second, integration announcements. Which software vendors start building native support for AI agents? And third, and most importantly, regulatory responses. The EU, US, and others are already looking at AI agent regulations.
The integration point is fascinating. Imagine Salesforce, SAP, or Microsoft building AI agent APIs directly into their platforms.
That's exactly where this is heading. We're moving from AI as a chatbot to AI as a coworker. And the Vercept acquisition positions Anthropic to be a major player in that transition. They're not just building better language models, they're building the infrastructure for AI agents that can actually do work.
Any final thoughts for our listeners who are trying to make sense of all this?
Here's my take. This isn't about AI replacing humans. It's about humans working differently. The most successful people and organizations will be those who learn to direct, verify, and build on top of AI work, rather than competing with it. Start small, experiment safely, but don't wait too long to engage with this technology. The learning curve is real, and the earlier you start climbing it, the better positioned you'll be for what comes next.
And remember, every transformative technology goes through phases: initial hype, disillusionment, then productive integration. We're probably still in the hype phase for AI computer use, but the underlying capability is real and improving rapidly.
The Vercept Anthropic deal isn't just another acquisition. It's a signal that the age of AI agents, not just assistants, but actual digital workers, is arriving faster than most people expect. The question isn't whether this will transform how we work, but how quickly and how thoroughly. Based on what we're seeing, my bet is very quickly and more thoroughly than most of us are prepared for. Before we wrap up, let's catch up on this week's infrastructure news. There's a fascinating piece from Axios about how Claude is reshaping major sectors. They're looking at a hypothetical 2026 scenario where Anthropic's AI has disrupted everything from Wall Street to Washington.
Wait, this is speculative? What are they predicting exactly?
They're exploring how Claude could transform national security, financial markets, and the startup ecosystem. It's interesting timing given what Anthropic just announced with Claude Code Remote Control.
Oh, right, I saw that on DevOps.com. They're letting developers run AI coding agents locally, but control them remotely through their browser or phone.
Exactly. It's a local-first approach that addresses some of the security concerns enterprises have with cloud-based AI agents. Speaking of which, TechCrunch reports that Trace just raised $3 million to tackle AI agent adoption in enterprises.
What's their angle?
They're building a knowledge graph from existing company tools to give AI agents better context, basically solving the problem of agents not understanding how a specific company operates.
Makes sense. Hey, switching gears, there's some impressive work coming out on autonomous driving simulation. This Horizon Forge framework on Archive can generate and edit photorealistic driving scenes.
The paper shows they're using Gaussian splat and mesh representation for editable 3D scenes. You can insert any vehicle trajectory into any driving scenario. Perfect for testing edge cases in autonomous systems.
Speaking of infrastructure, Cloudflare had some network performance issues in Frankfurt earlier. Users were experiencing increased latency and timeouts.
They've already implemented a fix and resolved it, but it's a reminder of how dependent we are on these services. Now let's talk software releases. VLLM just dropped version 0.16.0, and it's a big one.
This is huge for anyone running large language models. They've got async scheduling with pipeline parallelism that delivers over 30% throughput improvement.
Plus, they've added WebSocket-based real-time API for streaming audio interactions, building on the Voxtral infrastructure. And for those doing RLHF workflows, there's native NCCL-based weight syncing.
440 commits from 203 contributors. That's a massive release. The performance improvements alone make it worth upgrading.
That wraps up today's news. That's our show for today.
If you found this valuable, please subscribe and share with a friend who'd appreciate it.
Drop us a comment with your thoughts on today's topic.
Links to everything we discussed are in the show notes.
Until next time.